Campbell Newman has rejected a fire sale of Queensland assets that could have netted billions of dollars for the state's bottom line.
The big power supplies will stay in government hands, but a host of services from passenger trains to speed cameras will be given over to private companies.
Campbell Newman made it very clear his opposition to selling the power companies had prevailed.
We are ruling out today the sale of Energex and Ergon and Powerlink.
An obvious rebuff to Peter Costello and Tim Nicholls, who hoped to raise billions with a sale.
There are no easy answers to the challenges presented.
The big power generators, CS Energy and Stanwell, could eventually go.
The report recommends no sale of the generators until after 2015-2016.
However, the giant Queensland Investment Corporation could be sold off, and the big ports of Gladstone and Townsville face being leased out.
Their book value would likely to be in the billions of dollars, Spencer.
The government won't move, though, without an election mandate. The opposition cried foul, pointing to the $500 million sale of government office buildings.
This government has sold assets without a government mandate.
We know that many of the recommendations in this report are going to be hotly debated.
None more so than outsourcing the running of Q-Rail passenger services and maintenance, plus a swag of other government operations.
Outsourcing, Madam Speaker, will be full steam ahead.
In the gun for outsourcing the likes of pathology, radiology, pharmacy and rural and remote health services. Remaining state aged care services could end up in private hands. TAFE colleges face a shakeout and being commercially run. Jails too could be leased out, along with mobile speed camera operations.
It is about slashing services, sacking workers and selling off Queensland's assets.
Enough is enough. We can't continue to accept debt, deficit and inefficiency.
The current student-teacher ratios will be removed as schools get a say in running themselves. Less teachers could be the result.
The LNP government is driven by ideology. At the same time, they're hurting Queensland families.
To clear the backlog in courts and save money, minor offenders will be given the chance to plead guilty by computer. While operations at Suncorp Stadium, the Gabba and 3 other major facilities will be put in private hands.
It's a plan, Madam Speaker, to supercharge the state's economy.
Nevertheless, Campbell Newman's insistence the power companies not be sold makes the task of quickly restoring the state's AAA credit rating that much harder. But at least the budget should be back in surplus in a couple of years. Spencer Jolly, 9 News.
Unions claim they've won the first round in their battle against asset sales, but they're warning of widespread job losses and poorer services.
They battled Anna Bligh over asset sales and lost. Today, there was a grudging acknowledgement.
Round 1 has gone to the union movement.
The union saved their props and anger for the government's planned outsourcing.
No matter what this government calls privatisation, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's still privatisation.
Thousands of public service jobs could be on the line with plans to outsource IT.
Until we test that market, we don't know what the outcome will be.
Every time the government says anything about job losses, they are lying.
A third of those public servants that are currently employed won't be here in the next 5 years through natural attrition.
Rail outsourcing and potential power station sales will lower prices, according to the government, not unions.
There are multinational companies waiting in the wings at the present time to move into Queensland the same way as they did in Victoria, and they've got to look after their shareholders.
They'll run another anti-privatisation campaign and won't rule out strikes.
Anger is building. Is it one of the options we'll be considering? Yes.
The government's outsourcing measures have one big supporter, business, and its peak lobby group says even tougher action may be needed.
You can run decade after decade of small but sure fiscal surpluses, but that will not drive down the $84 billion in debt.
Michael Best, 9 News.
And Treasurer Tim Nicholls joins us now from Parliament House. Treasurer, thank you. Without big ticket asset sales, you can't restore Queensland's AAA credit rating, can you?
Well, Andrew, today's plan is a plan about delivering quality services at a price Queenslanders can afford, and it's the first step to getting our AAA credit rating back. It's a balanced program that will deliver services that will stop the rot and get Queensland back on track.
But I'm saying without selling off big ticket public assets, you can't restore the AAA credit rating, can you?
Well, getting that AAA credit rating back is going to be a lot of hard work, Andrew. It can't be done overnight. It was never going to be done overnight. And so we've taken a balanced view. We've rejected the sale of Ergon, Energex and Powerlink at the next election. What we have said, we're going to look at some of our generators, some of our ports, and see what we can get out of those in terms of value and start using that to pay down the debt.
OK, how many public servants will lose their jobs over outsourcing?
Well, what we're talking about is contestability, the process of testing the services that government delivers to make sure they're effective and efficient and the best services possible. Many services are already delivered by non-government sectors. If you go to the Mater Hospital for an outpatient service, that'll be delivered by the Mater Hospital, although the Queensland government pays for it. So we're talking about those sort of services. A third of the public service will be retiring and leaving the service over the next 5 years. So we'll be working within those sorts of numbers to deliver better services for Queenslanders.
Treasurer, thanks for joining us.
That's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.